Hey everyone, it's Shana here, coaching and wellness services. And today I wanted to talk about change and changing habits because it's something we all need to do from time to time. But what's your experience while you're trying to change a habit? Hi, I'm Shana. This is Shana Keen Wellness, where we talk about mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Glad you're here. Now, I know a lot of us have read the book Atomic Habits, but we often don't follow it. There's cool tools like keeping a tracker and tracking your habits so that you're just focusing on one at a time. And once you've built that and it's become like easy, second nature, then you add in another one. So it's like really taking it slow and incrementally. But often what comes up while you're making a change is some kind of resistance or a feeling of self-sabotage, or you just want to go back to what feels comfortable and safe. And so one thing I would encourage you to do is lean into whatever that is. So I know like we can do anything for a week. So like a week of whatever, you're exercising, you're changing your sleep routine, your morning routine, maybe you're changing what you eat. It all, like, we can do anything for a week, but once we get past that first week, then this stuff kind of comes up, these old programs or beliefs or whatever it is. And so leaning into that will help give us insight so we can clear whatever that is and move past it, so we can keep going with whatever our new habit is we're trying to create or establish, whatever change it is we're wanting to make. So I can give you some examples. So maybe like you're changing what you eat. And so week 2, you start feeling this self-sabotage, like this feeling of, fuck all these vegetables. I just want to have like my chips. I just want to like gorge on some pizza or whatever. Now, if you lean into like, why am I wanting to sabotage? Like everything's going really great. I'm feeling really good. Like why would I want to sabotage that? It's almost like you're two different people. So you just like lean into it and you just listen, like, why am I feeling this? Where is this coming from? Who wants to sabotage me? And it's interesting the answers that might come to you. So not all of it's your stuff, obviously, but maybe it's like a feeling of safety. Like it's not safe to do this. You can't do that. Or you might lose weight if you change how you eat. And then you might be too sexy, and being too sexy is not safe. Or, like women especially have a lot of crap because women have been oppressed and all kinds of things for so many centuries. And so maybe it's like, how dare you try and put yourself first? How dare you focus on yourself? You're supposed to focus on everyone else first. So it could be like some shame or guilt. How dare you try and change? Or it could be like this attachment to your persona, like, well, I don't know who I would be. Like, I've been this person for so long. Like, who would I be if I was thinner? Who would I be if I was healthier? So it's just interesting, the stories that start to come up, and you could be like, do I still want to believe that? Can I let this go? So once you understand what these barriers are that are coming up, it's much easier to let them go. And then you can like move past. So like, okay. And then also like some people have a belief that they're not worthy. I'm not worthy or deserving of being healthy. I'm not worthy or deserving of taking care of myself. And so dive into that deeper. Well, why wouldn't I be deserving? And just see what comes up. So some of it could be old stories that we learned as a child that have just been stored in our subconscious. Some of it could be inherited from our parents. Some of it could be ancestral too. It's all just like this baggage that keeps compounding, like, and it's growing on our backs that we're carrying around. And so it could be also from past lives too. Like if there's some kind of common thread that's connecting them all, like this pattern that keeps looping, then it's a good chance it's a past life thing. So just becoming aware of whatever that resistance is, or that self-sabotage, or whatever it might be that's coming up, will help you move through that and clear those so much easier. And so let's talk about the words you say to yourself and how you talk to yourself while you're trying to make change. So there's two approaches, really. One you've probably seen on The Biggest Loser, right? Where they're like, you have somebody screaming at you, "Come on, do it. What are you, lazy? Come on, move your ass. Let's do it." Like, like somebody just like antagonizing you and like, just like with words. And then there's another way. Like, you could talk to yourself as you would talk to somebody else that you love. With kindness and compassion. Like, "Oh my gosh, I know this is so hard for you. I know changing is not easy. It's uncomfortable, but you can do this. You're able and you're capable of doing hard things. You're capable of change. I'll support you however you want." So I don't know which one feels better to you. Do you like being motivated by like the barrage of insults and like screaming at you, or are you more motivated with kindness and compassion? So that's something you have to determine for yourself. But I find a lot of people do a lot better when they are greeted with kindness. So imagine you have a little, let's say 6-year-old, and they're used to getting a treat every day at 3:00. And then one day you decide, you know what, that's just not healthy. I'm not going to give that to them anymore. But with no explanation, all of a sudden they're expecting this treat at 3:00, and you're just like, "Nope, you're not getting it." So wouldn't you expect that child to like have a meltdown? Wouldn't you expect them to like cry and throw a fit? Yeah, exactly. And then how would you treat them? Would you be like, "Oh, shut up. You don't need that treat. What the hell were you thinking? I shouldn't have been giving you that treat all along." Or would you be like, "Oh, honey, I know you're used to getting a treat every day at 3, but I learned some new things and I realized that it's just not good for you and I want you to be healthy. And so I know it's going to be hard because you're used to it, but slowly you'll get used to it and it'll pass and you'll feel better." Which one feels better to you? Right? The little kid is you. So yeah, if you're making changes, of course your little child inside or your inner self is gonna like throw a tantrum at some point. It's gonna be like, "Hey, what the heck? Why am I not getting this? I always get this." So I really like the approach of kindness and compassion. And one person that, she's phenomenal. You can find her on YouTube. She's on a lot of podcasts. Is Sharooh Izadi. So Sharooh Izadi. I'll put a link down in the comments so you can check out a couple podcasts. She wrote a couple books, and I highly recommend reading them. She is a behavioral change specialist, so she works a lot with like addictions, and so if you're people are addicted to a lot of things these days, not just substances, but food and technology and shopping and all kinds of stuff these days. So if you're wanting to make changes, a lot of times you have to break that addiction to it. So highly recommend checking her out. So change is big. And obviously you don't want to make a ton of changes at once. You don't want to try and change your finances and your relationship and your body and your job and whatever all at once, because that would be like overload. So just focus on one thing at a time. Master it, then add the next thing, master it, add the next thing. And do it in small stages. So like if you have, you want to create a new habit of exercising, just start by putting exercise clothes on every day. Or however many times a week you want to exercise. Maybe 1 day a week. And then up it to 2 days a week. And then 3 days a week. And then maybe 1 day a week you drive to the gym. Just drive there, but don't go in. And then maybe you just keep adding another day. And so you've driven there every day. And then maybe one day you go inside. And that's it. And you go home. And then maybe, slowly after you've been going inside, maybe you stay for 5 minutes. So it's like that kind of incremental change that you can make. And a lot of people are proponents of adding more versus taking away. So, for instance, like if you're wanting to change how you eat, maybe just adding in more vegetables, adding in more water versus like taking away other things. You'll find that naturally these other things will fill you up more, so you eat less of the things that you're wanting to take away. Does that make sense? So it'll be a natural progression versus like this forced experience. And so one thing that's really helpful for some people is having some kind of accountability or support system. And some people find a group, and some people prefer having some kind of experts or person that they can go to with questions or when things get tough. So maybe it's a nutritionist, maybe it is a personal trainer, maybe it's a health coach, whatever it might be, that can provide support, help them through any, bumps in the road and that kind of thing. So if you're the kind of person who needs accountability or needs more support during a process, find a group. You can go on Facebook, you can go on Meetup, you can find places all over there. And you can also be accountable to yourself. You can get a tracker, like a wellness tracker. You can just write everything down and track it every day. Be accountable to yourself. You can write like what you ate. You can write how much you exercised, how much water you drank, like what kinds of habits you're trying to do. You can track it yourself and be accountable to yourself as well. So that's another option. All right, so hopefully those tips were helpful. If they were, give me a like down below and maybe share it with a friend or two. And I will see you in the next one. Everyone be well.